where's Green Pond concerning the amphitheater and the weigh-in dock expansion, and are there any other updates in the works out there?
They're actually probably within days of moving dirt on the amphitheater. That's very, very close. They might even be doing it today, which is April the 20th, which is my oldest daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, oldest daughter. But the neatest thing that we had happen was last Saturday when we had the opening of the new baseball field at Dolly Cooper Park. And I got there probably around 11, and there was no place to park. There were at least 2,000 people there. And it was the first major improvement we've done at Dolly Cooper Park in a long time. You had all of those people there. They had a fun day there with rides and games that you could play, and they also had vendors, food trucks out there. And they had people on our 2 new kayak docks in Dolly Cooper. One family was fishing on one dock, and there was another lady doing soil samples of the river, and she said the river was good. And so it was just a really great day, and Councilman Davis should be congratulated for his hard work on that, and he will be unveiling, he hasn't set a time yet, when they're going to unveil the master plan. And then just the comments out there the other day was, you know, what's next, and we're about to see what's next when he unveils that master plan.
Redone the docks. The docks are all redone, the ADA docks.
Beautiful. They're there.
Trail.
Yep, the new baseball field. We've had the football field there, and we're fixing disc golf, which is very popular, real popular. We had to close the park one day at 5 o'clock for construction because in order to finish last week, they were working till 9 and 10 o'clock. So we closed the park one day at 5 o'clock, and the disc golfers came out of the woodwork. What do you mean? What's going on? You know, this is what's going on. So it was a great day. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people had fun, and it was just wonderful to see that.
People are itching to get outside.
Yes.
And back to Green Pond, the other big announcement since last time we met was another Bassmaster Classic, which I think is the first time they've done 5 in one spot, is that, or one lake?
No, we are now tied for the most Bassmaster Classics. Of course, we're already working to beat that record, but this will be coming up pretty soon, and we're real excited about that. And we're also excited, which will be a long time before that, is the high school tournament that will be coming up here shortly. And hopefully we'll have a lot of the things, improvements at Green Pond in place. And
people forget, every time one of these happens, the amount of money the county's making goes up. I mean, the economic impact is pretty significant, right?
It's the thing that's been driving our accommodations tax, which is a tax on hotel rooms paid by visitors. And that's what's been keeping us afloat in that fund, which we use to fund recreation, because the accommodation tax can only be used for things that will bring people into your county, tourism related. And so that's been keeping us afloat, because that's where we get a lot of our money for recreation.
Well, everybody's itching to get back outside, which brings us to the shores at Asbury. They're been taking reservations, launching phase 1 this year. Have you been out there lately? What's the latest?
I've been out there lately because they had some issues with stormwater, so we are correcting those issues that they had with stormwater, and we are hopefully they are looking to open sometime in July at the shores of Asbury. But there's going to be another water park by the same group at River Forks. And as you know, Asbury was closed by the Corps of Engineers. We're going to open that back up, and River Forks is going to be opened up. And if everything goes perfectly right, it may be open by May the 1st. If not, it'll be sometime in May. But there will be a floating water park there. And so we're excited about that.
So it'll be open before the one at Asbury?
It will be way before the one at Asbury.
Because they had some delays.
Yes.
And then is there any plans down the road for the Welding property on the...
Yes, but that's probably just going to, right now, just open it back up, because those parks require a lot of cleaning of the underbrush and trees that have fallen, a whole lot of work. It's a massive undertaking, and this group's trying to do 2 projects at one time. So those are the big ones that are going on right now. But probably another thing which is heavily recreation oriented, and we'll be discussing that at the council meeting tonight, the long rumored trail, the trail that will connect the Civic Center to Highway 81. They have secured all of the right-of-way, and they're staging right now, actually staging to do the work. A lot of people think it's going to be incorporated with the East-West Parkway, which it is not. And it's going to be, you know, for bikes, walking, and things like that. And I think it's going to be our own Swamp Rabbit Trail to a degree. But you'll be able to walk all the way from the Civic Center, all the way to 81, or cycle. If you want to get in a good walk, now you have, besides walking on the East-West Parkway, you'll have another opportunity.
Well, that's something people have been waiting on a long time.
They have, and it's an ANATS project, which is local legislators, council members, city, county, everything else. And it's a really great project, and it's been a long time coming.
Do they have any timetable on how long it would take to put that thing in?
Just if it doesn't rain, I mean, they're going to go straight through.
Wow, okay.
And there'll be pedestrian bridges over creeks. I think it's going to be very pretty.
Well, the county's biggest park, and Dolly Cooper second, I guess the biggest is still the Civic Center, and we've talked about pickleball and other things, disc golf out there, of course. Are there other fields opening back up for soccer, baseball, softball, all that stuff this season? We're all back in.
Yeah, we're back. We're back full tilt boogie out there with all of those things. All that's going on, and everybody's taking a lot of use in that area. And we've done a little more work on Kid Venture, primarily making sure that it's cleaned up on a more regular basis. And as a matter of fact, now it's cleaned up at least once a day, if not twice. We were doing it. I don't think we were doing it enough, but that's been corrected. And we are still waiting to put the bathroom at Kid Venture, which is going to be the next big thing that we do out there. But we've got some other landscape items out there. There are a couple of places out there that just don't look very good, and we tried to plant grass on some of those, and it doesn't take, and it looks like just a nasty red bank. So we don't want to see that nasty red bank, so we're getting some ideas on what we can do on that, and hopefully we'll be moving out on that pretty quickly.
Is funding the issue on the park, trying to get the funding in?
Funding's always the issue in everything in county government. Everything in county government costs money. Everything.
So for $1 you get $1 in services, pretty much. Is that the way it works?
Well, we try
That's my
to give,
economics.
for $1 that you pay, we try to give you $2 worth of services. As you know, for a county our size, we are one of the leanest counties out there. Not me saying that, because naturally I would say that, but I mean, you can go to Association of Counties, here's your population, how many employees you have, and we're always consistently in that lower bracket.
We had the first concert back at the Civic Center Saturday. Are more concerts coming back in on a regular basis?
Yes,
there too?
more concerts. They were allowed to sell 5,000 tickets. They sold 5,000 tickets. They could have sold 10,000 tickets. But it seems to me that it went off very well. Everybody had a good time. And it was good to have that out where people could get out and enjoy that again. But we've got some other concerts lined up. Life FM's got a concert coming up, and we've got several other people. And the big thing coming up in May is the fair. So last year we didn't have the fair because of COVID, and we're going to have a fair this year, and it's going to have a lot of COVID protocols involved in it that have already been tried at other fairs that have opened back up. So we're going to have that coming. So things are slowly getting to normal. They are not normal, but slowly getting there.
How about Celebrate Anderson?
So we'll have Celebrate Anderson this year. We're still trying to determine the talent on what people would like to see, who they would like to see, and how much we can afford.
I was going to say, I got a good list of who I'd like to see. I don't know how much we can afford.
Well, you know, ZZ Top's out of our price range, so they're not going to be able to come, okay?
Right. And in the past, I think you and I have talked about this before, in the past, people remember, though, Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Beach Boys and stuff. That was paid for out of different money.
That was paid for out of different money that no longer exists. Yeah. That was a money that was plugged into the state, and primarily $250,000 that went along with the Balloon Fest. When the Balloon Fest left, the money left, politicians left, funding sources and priorities changed, so that money's not there. But that concert this weekend was a private affair. They paid us to use our facility. And so there seems to be a great deal of interest, and we're getting interest from national companies who are looking at that as a venue. So can you have a concert out at the amphitheater and be successful? Obviously, the promoter of this one was over the moon.
And the other thing, Civic Center is still a hub for vaccinations. We're
still doing vaccinations. There'll be a pause during the fair, and But we're still doing that. DHEC's doing that. ANMED's doing that. We're shooting up everybody that we can.
And shifting gears, this week marked another announcement of new jobs and economic expansion. E&I's 200 new positions. Of course, we got Arthrex, TTI, First Quality announced 200 last month.
Yep.
Electrolux continuing to hire.
Yep.
And these companies all pay in the neighborhood around $20 an hour on average,
or more.
Meanwhile, some of the service industry places that pay tip wages or minimum wage are having trouble keeping their doors open. And unemployment dropped again in March.
Yeah, we're down at 4.5 now. We're happy about that. It's not back in the days when we were around 2%, but I think things are straightening out because last month it was 4.9. So we're going in the right direction. And we had one of the governors of the Federal Reserve here 2 weeks ago, and he was just taking a tour. There were two things that he wanted to see. One of them was a genetic center in Greenwood, and he really wanted to see Arthrex. And he was very impressed with Arthrex, as everybody is. But he made the statement at that event that he didn't see anything bad happening for the foreseeable future. Now, the foreseeable future would be 4, 5, or 6 months. So.
And county honored 911 dispatch with the sheriff's department's folks, and they're hiring as well.
Yeah, they're hiring as well. Anderson County was the first county in the state to honor our dispatchers, and this whole thing would collapse if they didn't do their job as well as they do. It's one of the hardest jobs that you can do. You're sitting there dealing in life and death just about every 2 minutes. And so they do a wonderful job, and they richly deserve that recognition.
And they're saying it's a good entry point for people considering law enforcement they were talking about.
It's a great career in and of itself if you are bent that way, because it takes a special person to walk in and do 12 hours of life and death. But if you're 18 and you want to be a dispatcher, we can hire you at 18, and then when you turn 21, if you decide you want to go in law enforcement, you have had superb training. And also training for police officers has changed a little bit. Tri-County Tech's now offering the prerequisites, or a 4-week course where you can go there and start your career in law enforcement. So that's a new wrinkle. That's very interesting too.
And AU's now got their online only for people who want to get advanced degrees in law enforcement.
And in law enforcement. And plus they've got exciting things with their Applied Engineering Center, which if that was up and running, every one of their graduates would have a job today. And we met with TTI this week, and they're going to continue to grow. As a matter of fact, they're going to be adding new buildings here. As a matter of fact, they're grading for new buildings. So if you haven't been out there, you need to go out there. There are 1,400 people working there right now. And if you're an engineer, they've got a place for you right now. So, there are plenty of jobs out there.
Does Anderson County have enough people for all these jobs?
We have enough people, 4.5%. There's some people out there. But I'm telling you, and I told you last time, if you don't have any skills, you can go to one of these plants now and start at the bottom because they're expanding and growing. And if you work hard, you can move up. They'll train you. They'll send you to school. They'll do everything you need to do. Just get in the door.
Which is going to make it even more challenging for the tip wage crowd paying minimum wage now, because there's just too many good jobs here to pay people $7.25 an hour.
But you always have that hardcore group of F&B people, food and beverage people,
yep.
And that's what they like to do. And a lot of the good ones are really doing real well right now.
Speaking of people, any update on the census? I know they're behind.
I told you last time that we were expecting it in July. Now they've kicked it to September, and that's really a cramp on what we can do. You can't draw political boundary lines and get ready for the next election. You got to have some time to do that. They've got to redraw every line in the United States of America except the United States Senate and President, Every House seat has to be looked at, and that travels all the way down to the state level, all the way down to the county council level.
And with our growth, that hurts us in funding as well.
Well, I hope everybody participated in the census, because it does. You get money based on how many people you have.
Any update on the distribution of the $6.1 million to renters and landlords affected? I know that AIM is taking care of applications and stuff.
Yeah, I know that they've already made some payments, probably $100,000 worth, and I know that they're getting the word out. Their billboard's up now. We looked at some other promotional material now where we can put it. We're reaching out to some of the church associations to make sure that their membership knows, and hopefully we'll have that done by the end of the week to let people know what's up and how they can take advantage of it, because we still think there are a lot of people who don't know about it.
Since last time we talked, Anderson County launched its new website.
Yep.
Are you getting much feedback on that?
I haven't had any negative feedback, which I expected some people, but I think it's going very well. I think it's doing what we wanted it to do to make it easier to get in touch with Anderson County. We're also looking, council's very interested in customer service. You know, we get paid, I get paid by taxpayers. Everybody who works for Anderson County is paid by everybody else in Anderson County. So you should be treated with respect and dignity, and that's one of the things that we want to reinforce. That website's one part of it, but the other is more customer service training and things like that, things that you just think you should know. Well, maybe you don't know and you need a booster shot or something like that, but we've got those things going on.
You're talking about part of that is that ACSC app. Do we have any idea how many people downloaded it yet?
I hadn't checked on it this week, but I know a lot of people are using it, and I wish everybody would sign up for it because it's interactive with the Anderson County government. It really works. City has it too. It's also interactive with the city government. So, you know, you should take advantage of it. It can make your life easier.
It's fast. I've tried it. And also the new website, I will say that my one observation is it's zippy. The other one was clunky and slow, and
Yes.
this one you click on something it opens. You know.
Yeah, Zippy was what we were after.
You don't have to go take a nap.
No, you have to go take a nap before you can get something done.
County Council Chairman Tommy Dunn has indicated he wants this year's budget to be completed far ahead of the deadline and not be at the last minute again. Where is council on the budget right now?
Every member of council has a budget. It's not the final budget, but they have the numbers and they're looking at it. And I've had individual conversations with council members, and hopefully his deadline of June 1 will come true. And council's been working real hard looking at everything. The other thing is, though, is because of stimulus money, which we're supposed to get a huge chunk of stimulus money, just like everybody else in South Carolina and every town, that we don't know the final rules and regulations on where that money can be used. So council said, well, we will just go ahead and do this budget. If we don't have that, then we may have to come back and do a supplemental budget. You don't want to plug in those stimulus dollars, but the state has a surplus of $1.7 billion, okay? And if they get stimulus check, they're going to have $4 billion. We need some of that here in Anderson County.
I was going to say, it's nice to have a contingency budget based on maybe getting more money, though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And something being cut like we've had in past years.
Yes, but one thing they already told us on the stimulus checks, you can't use it to fund a tax cut. That's the only thing that they've come out and said. But we hope to look at increasing sewer capacity, and with that, some of that money, we also look to partner with some people on the expansion of broadband. That's something we're looking at, several things like that. But again, until we get the final rules and regulations, we won't know.
And that's a big deal countywide. It's different. You can't do it with one sweep. You've got different companies for the broadband.
You got different companies, but we're working heavily with Western Carolina Telephone. They cover the southern half of the county. Then you have, but they've gone into a partnership with Blue Ridge Electric, which is primarily in the northern part of the county. But we have areas in the county that you wouldn't think weren't served well. The LaFrance area in Anderson County doesn't have good internet. And Western Carolina, wherever they are, they have great internet. So, but we want them to come up further, and the only way we can do that is try to provide some financial consideration. But Blue Ridge and Western Carolina, all of those people have been perfect partners. But you know, just to run a mile of cable, that's $50,000.
Is there any discussion of a vehicle tax or anything like that for roads?
The general feeling of county councilors right now is a lot of people were battered and beaten up by COVID, and probably now just getting their feet back under them. So I don't suspect any major initiatives because of that. I mean, everybody in Anderson County knows we need a jail. And council was prepared to build a jail until everything came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, had to plan out and everything.
Had to plan out. And I mean, you know, we'd already lined up the funding, but then boom, COVID hit, and that's delayed that. Council still knows that we need to build a jail. And so those are some of the big challenges we have. And we've been working closely with the Anderson County Transportation Committee on road work, and SCDOT with their new road work. They're doing a lot of road work, and we're doing some road work. But one thing that we do that a lot of counties don't do is we build our own bridges. And we can build our own bridges cheaper than we can have somebody else build our own bridges. And
faster too.
And faster too. And people are always amazed that y'all can do that? Yep. Our guys on the bridge crew are geniuses, and they know what they're doing. So,
and they're working on that big one over on Shackleford right now.
And we're getting real close. Very close.
People over there will be happy.
Yes.
There have also been a number of special elections this year, including Mayor Belton, some city councils in Honeypath, Pelzer, West Pelzer. How does that affect the budget of the Anderson County voter registration and elections? They need more money, or?
But they are holding their own right now, but they've got one more special election coming up,
Right.
And then they've got the fire referendum coming up.
There's a number of other events coming up in the county. I just want to make sure you mentioned the military exhibit. The county museum is going to be a pretty big deal. What can you tell folks about that?
Well, right now it's under construction, and it's coming along very well, and it's going to honor all veterans in Anderson County. It's going to be a remarkable exhibition, and you have to give the Beverly and the people at the library the credit because they've raised this money from a variety of sources. But that's going to be huge, but it's still under construction right now.
It'll be a permanent exhibit once.
Permanent exhibit, yes.
You and I in the past have discussed plans to move some of the other monuments to the county square. Any movement on that?
I still want, and I have a design and know where we can get the money to put the Fireman's Monument, and hopefully that'll get cranked back up in the fall. But again, I hate to say this, but every time you turn around, well, why didn't you do that? COVID. Why didn't you do that? COVID.
Right, because it just spun out. One thing caused COVID, and then everything slowed. Numbers of people trying to do things. Any updates on the COVID-19 precautions that the county's doing? I know Anderson's county's seeing declining numbers, but we're still seeing new cases and deaths here almost every day.
Well, what I'm hoping, yes, we've loosened our restrictions to a degree, but what I'm hoping is what you see this week is from the spring break. That's what you got. And so hopefully that's going to fade down. And as we vaccinate more and more people in Anderson County, I think we're going to be in better shape. And I just hope it continues to go away and encourage people, if you're so inclined to get the vaccine, because it's real easy to get right now. And if you're an adult, you can go anywhere. It doesn't cost anything. And it provides you with a degree of freedom.
One other thing some people are going to notice that visit the historic courthouse, there's going to be some construction at the entrance down there.
That entrance before was horrible, and when the wind blew, the whole courthouse froze. And so we're putting an airlock and a door there and trying to dress that up a little bit. But we're also about to do $800,000 worth of work on the historic courthouse, because in the ceiling we have problems that it could come crashing down. We've got to point some bricks, just some general things we have to do to preserve this building.
And that new thing will have a better safety.
Oh, it'll be much safer. It'll be much safer. And we're also doing that at the annex. And we've also constructed another courtroom because of COVID in a vacant space that we had up at the Ronald Townsend Building Summary Court, and pretty much just piece that together. Not like here's a big construction project. Well, let's see if we can find that here, find this here, find that there. So
the one here is pretty imminent, though, right?
Yes.
This week, maybe.
Yes.
Also, this week, the county's kicking off another crackdown on illegal signage that encroach on right-of-ways, and those things are not only ugly, but sometimes they block your line of vision.
Well, they're dangerous, and people hate them. And what we're going to be picking up every sign that's not approved. We will not be picking up real estate signs, and we will not be picking up political signs. So we will not do that. And any sign we pick up, we're going to keep for 7 days. But we're picking up every illegal sign, and we're picking them up all over the county. For Earth Day, that's what we're doing.
Well, technically, there's fines if you do that, right? Are they going to be fining people?
Well, if we can find them. Sometimes those signs...
So if you come pick up your sign, you can pay your fine?
Oh, yeah. Well, come right over here. We'll set up a speed line.
But there is a legal way to take care of that.
There is a legal way, which if you go in and register, you can put signs certain places. But you can't nail them to trees. You can't put them on telephone poles. And you just can't throw them around. We're not coming in your yard and snatch a sign, okay? But if it's on the public right of way, it's fair game unless you have a sign permit.
All right, looking ahead, are there any economic development announcements on the horizon?
Yes, there's some very good economic development things and some very interesting ones, which is really taking us in another way, a really good way, a natural way. That's all I can say right now. But we're really excited about those, and it will also increase the diversity of the local Anderson County economy, which I'm always very proud of. And so it's going to be cool. It's just going to be really cool what they do. And I think it'll probably end up being a tourist attraction as well, even though they manufacture stuff, or rather grow stuff.
So it's something different than we've had seen before. Anything else coming up between now and as we're about halfway to summer?
And we've got movie night coming up at Dolly Cooper Park, and that date escapes me, but I'll try to get it to you so you can put something up. We'd appreciate it if you could.